Die Geschichte der IBIS-Farm auf Buvuma Island im ugandischen Viktoriasee sollte der Gründer selbst erzählen. Wir waren dort, haben Charles Irving besucht und er hat uns davon berichtet, wie er dazu gekommen ist, die Kakaobohnen für unsere Mondberger Schokolade anzubauen.
It was about 2016 I started looking for land in Uganda because I wanted to grow some crops. And acquiring land in Uganda is actually very difficult because most of the land is not titled. Land tenure is a big issue and a complicated issue. Something like 90% of the High Court cases in Uganda are land disputes. So finding land which didn't have disputes on it was the principal reason. And Buvuma was very much a forgotten island. Nothing happened on Buvuma. Originally it was essentially covered in forest, and the only serious level of habitation was on the coastline with fishermen. So the middle was just jungle. Only in the last 100 years, and even in the last 50 or 60 years, most of the forest has been cut down in unauthorized exploitation. So one of the advantages of Buvuma was that because it had been forested, it had never been farmed historically. There were tracts of land of a sensible size which did have title on, and I was able to buy an area of 100 acres, which is about 40 hectares to you, which had a freehold title, and that is where we're standing now. And my intention was I like trees, and I feel that trees get a very bad time, really. People are very stupid about them, and they spend far too much time chopping them down, not nearly enough time planting them. Even in the UK, I've planted probably 100 trees for every one I've chopped down. So I wanted to plant trees, and I didn't want it just to be just trees, because it would be nice to have some sort of revenue flow as well. And the obvious source of revenue in this particular location seemed to be coffee and cocoa and vanilla. So though I knew very little about any of those crops, I decided to try and grow those crops underneath trees. So in 2016 we bought this 40 hectares and we set about developing it in the way that you see. So we actually now have nearly 600 acres, which is 240 hectares. And that gave us huge problems because we had to occupy it quickly to stop other people wanting to come and take it. We're now at a situation where we pretty much have control of the land. Everybody understands that we have control of the land, and we have established crops on most of it, all of it basically that can be cropped. Well, expanding out from the 40 hectare block has been a process, so it hasn't taken place instantaneously, and we're still planting very small areas now. We have actually planted in total over 200,000 cocoa trees now, and I guess the number that are now yielding is probably less than 200 or 300 at most. So we have an exponential problem or opportunity, because most of what we're doing in the adding value, the processing, is still at the experimental stage. But if you ask me in 5 years' time, the processing side will be vastly different to what it is now. But hopefully our knowledge will be much greater too, and we'll be able to do it understanding what we're doing. I operate in partnership with my son, who operates the businesses in the UK. He, by definition, is 25 years younger than me. So what he does, of course, is up to him. And my daughter, who is Ugandan, who's 9. I'm 79 years old, so I won't be very active, and I won't be determining the future. All I'm trying to create is opportunities that people can do what they want with their lives. I think that is probably the single biggest disadvantage of being born in Africa is the lack of opportunities. I've strived to give my children opportunities, and I strive to give other people opportunities, which of course is behind the ethos of having the school here on the project or associated with the project. Because as you can imagine, in a situation where most of the population were living on the coast and they were fishermen, education is, well, we employ about 50 people. There are only about 5 of them who can read and write in any way at all. That's not a situation which is conducive to progress. So we're trying to create opportunities. Obviously we're creating opportunities for the environment because we've completely changed the environment. We've restored it pretty much to back the way it should have been by nature. And at the same time we're giving employment and we're giving education. I don't know what more one can do in life really other than to try and be useful. And that's essentially what we're trying to do and not get bored.
Die Mondberge Schokolade in 4 leckeren Sorten könnt ihr im Mondberge Magazin Online-Shop bestellen unter ak@mondberge.de per E-Mail oder einfach anrufen hier im Büro unter 02226 911 799. In dieser Schokolade ist nichts drin, was da nicht reingehört. Kakaopulver, Kakaobutter und in den beiden hellen Sorten natürlich auch etwas Biomilch und Biozucker. Und das schmeckt man.